Hi, Lindsay McCracken here presenting my EDL 852 Module 8B on Internet Use Violations. Basically, the problem identification and analysis is this. The school is in an affluent area of a large city. Parents are professionals like doctors, lawyers, investment bankers, and the kids usually have the latest in everything, and that it has a reputation of being the most prestigious school in the state. The administrator is Dr. Stephen Forbes, who has been there for 9 years. He was elected as the Principal of the Year a couple of years ago by the State Secondary Principals Association. He's well respected by parents, and he works really hard to maintain the positive reputation of the school. Ms. Walker was hired 1 year ago to teach specialized science courses. She has her undergrad, master's, and 1 year of postgraduate school, which means she's a little older than most beginning teachers. And she's intent on establishing a structured, controlled, rigorous classroom. The demands of her science coursework, plus her serious approach to instruction, are equating to high levels of stress for students. Dr. Forbes has received many phone calls about her expectations. There's a lot of competition in her school to be the valedictorian or the salutatorian, and many students are scared they might receive their first low grade in high school because of her course demands. She hasn't been able to successfully implement the suggestions about reducing stress for students and increasing positive student interactions, and parents and students continue to complain. Over Veterans Day weekend, she was at her parents' house, returned home, checked her email, and found a link to a threatening website about her personal behaviors and critical comments about rigor of her classes. And the last comment on there was, "Who wants Miss Walker to disappear?" Ms. Walker was very upset and called Dr. Forbes to report it. He assured her it was likely a prank, told her he would deal with it in the morning, and that he would talk to a student that she personally named. And she named the student after he asked who might be upset with her. It was pretty clear she felt unsafe, and she planned to make the 3-hour drive back to her parents' house to spend one night. What we need to know is this: anytime a parent or student complains, the principal has to look into the reasons. So, what are the reasons for the concerns and complaints? Is it an issue with grading, or is it the teacher's goal to sabotage students? Is the work being assessed in a standards-based manner, or are points being taken off for non-standards related items? Is it possible that the concern lies with just the fact that it's an upper-level course, and if so, is the teacher scaffolding and providing support for students? Are the concerns coming from the same group of students? Are there multiple students, parents that are concerned throughout her classes? And then are there other rigorous or specialty courses in the school? And if so, how are the students performing in those classes? Another question that I have is, how much time has Dr. Forbes spent observing in Ms. Walker's room? With respect to her being hired, he only hires highly qualified candidates. And basically, what has he done to support her in her beginning years of teaching? So, does she have a mentor? Does he respond to parents when they complain? Does he put her on an improvement or an action plan? Is that necessary? What conversations have they been having regarding her teaching and learning? And then what has been documented concerning her teaching? What is their school policy on putting teachers on a plan? Why didn't he take the threat in the website more seriously? What did he do when he hung up the phone after speaking to Ms. Walker? Ms. Walker was hired to teach specialized science courses after completing her undergrad, master's, and 1 year of postgraduate work. I'd like to know more about her philosophies of teaching. He prides himself on hiring the most qualified candidates, so I wanted to know, are all of her degrees in teaching or are some science specific? Have parents been in direct contact with her? Does she make attempts to contact home in a positive way? What is her grading policy? She was hired to teach rigorous courses at a prestigious high school. Is she scaffolding and providing the support students need? Or is she possibly overshooting her curriculum, causing the extra stress? Did she try to implement the methods he suggested? Is she struggling to achieve a work-life balance? Does she work to do what's best for students every day? And does she treat students fairly with dignity and respect? The website was developed, and I have a lot of questions about this. Who developed it? What specifically does the website say? In the case study description, a question is posed about her disappearing, but she tells Dr. Forbes that it threatened to kill her, so what did it actually say? Did the same person develop the website that sent the email? And then what are the procedures in place within their school district for these types of situations? What is outlined in their district acceptable use policy? In what capacity will the district IT personnel get involved? And then has anything similar happened before? Is there any precedent set for this type of situation? Identifying the problem. I think the problem is multifaceted, starting with the fact that she's not developing positive relationships with her students. There might be a discrepancy between a high school science course and the one that she is teaching, so she may not be providing that scaffolding and support for kids. Students are experiencing high levels of stress because of her course demands. There have been numerous parent and student complaints about the class workload and poor instruction. The website was created with content that was offensive or threatening to her. Dr. Forbes does not seem overly supportive of Ms. Walker. He's fielded many parent complaints, but in the case study it says that he's discussed techniques with her to reduce stress. Instead of responding with concern about the email on the website, he seems to disregard her concern. He's not overly supportive, and he really doesn't understand that she feels violated and threatened. So, plan of action. Get to the bottom of the website issue first, and then address the classroom and teaching and learning concerns to ensure that the academic success and personal well-being of every student is being promoted by adhering to ethical principles and professional norms. So, step 1. Determine who created the website and resolve the website aspect of the issue to ensure Ms. Walker's safety. Step 2. Determine the validity of the concerns and complaints posed about her teaching style. And step 3. Support her in her teaching and learning. With step 1 in mind, I would say don't commit a suicide. As a principal, you don't get to judge the credibility of a threat the way Dr. Forbes did. So you follow district AUP protocol, you investigate the situation, you get district IT and the authorities involved to get to the bottom of who created the website. Depending on the actual content of the website, you want to work with the district IT and or local authorities to determine the appropriate consequence. You want to work with Ms. Walker to make sure she feels safe and gets appropriate help dealing with the situation on a personal level. And it's clear that she felt threatened, so as an administrator, I need to make sure she feels safe. Step 2, determine the validity of the concerns and complaints posed. Once she feels safe in her work environment and with the website issue, we want to start analyzing her teaching and learning if that was not done previously. We want to document everything. Schedule regular observations and do walkthroughs on a regular basis as well to determine if the level of rigor is appropriate, as well as to determine her relationship building skills. I want to talk to other parents and students from a variety of her classes and not just the ones who are complaining. If it's only those top students and parents complaining, there may be another issue entirely. And then talk to Ms. Walker and get her side of the story. This maybe needs to be done first. Is she making positive contact with parents and students? Is the teaching and learning in her classroom scaffolding? Finally, once that has been addressed, supporting her in her teaching and learning endeavors throughout. So assign her a mentor if she doesn't already have one. Instead of suggesting techniques with her, sit down and spell out specific behaviors that she needs to increase in her classroom to elicit the results necessary to promote the academic success and personal well-being of every student. Address any academic as well as behavioral and social concerns you see. And if necessary, put her on that plan so she understands the importance of making these changes. And then finally, meet with her once a week to discuss the issues she's having in class, steps she's taking to address them, and improvements she may or may not be seeing in students. Resolving the issue will promote the success of all students. Basically, you want to resolve the website issue first to make sure she knows that you support her, that she's a respected member of the school community, and that's in the best interest of students because she'll come in and be her best teacher ever. So if she feels threatened, she feels like Dr. Forbes isn't supportive of her. This is evident in her desire to drive 3 hours home. He's saying, I'll take care of it, but his insistence that it's a prank shows that he doesn't support her. So it's important to establish and sustain a positive work climate for teachers, and it is in the best interest of students to do so. When teachers feel safe and valued in their school, they will work harder to meet the needs of their students. If they don't feel valued, this aspect of teaching and learning may suffer. Creating a positive culture where Ms. Walker feels safe, trusted, and valued will have a positive impact on promoting the academic success and personal well-being of every student because she will be more invested in her school and in her students. If Dr. Forbes models these scaffolding and relationship building skills that he wants to see in her, she is more likely to elicit them with her students as well. After she feels safe, it will be necessary to determine the validity of the complaints and concerns made by students. She was hired to teach a specialty course, so there's likely an expectation that it's higher level. He's receiving these numerous complaints. What I'd like to know is if parents continue to complain after she starts making some improvements. And this is after he establishes that those concerns are valid. Anytime a parent or student complains, you have to look into it. And I would research how those same students are performing elsewhere. In all things teaching and learning, we have to promote the academic success and personal well-being of every student. So I would also look into those relationships that she is building or not with her students. And if she's not building them, help her understand how to better build them. I think Dr. Forbes could do that actually by modeling that with her. It doesn't seem like they have a great relationship. And finally, I would support her at a higher level in her teaching and learning endeavors. So according to the case study, he's focused on maintaining his positive reputation as principal of the most prestigious school in the state. I assume that with affluent parents comes power. So I have to wonder if some of his support doesn't naturally lean toward those parents. Regardless, it's clear that she needs support beyond discussing techniques. I would assign her a peer mentor. I would schedule regular observations and complete walkthroughs. And then I would kind of make sure to follow up with her on a weekly basis. And also, anytime an administrator has a concern brought to him by a teacher, it is in the best interest of students to address and support the teacher. With this student, Randy Franks, I would bring him in. I would see what was going on in class. I'd figure out how we can work something out so that he can be successful in her room. And then that would help her see that I really truly do support her. Again, having a positive impact on the academic success and the emotional success of all students, because she's going to bring her all when she sees she's supported with my all. Debriefing. I think when I responded to this problem, I was thinking, feeling, and valuing my role as a teacher. I was kind of considering what I would feel as if I was her in a specialty course role. And then I proceeded to kind of analyze it from his perspective, how he responded. And I think that when I have an issue in my classroom, my administrators are really great about supporting me, and that's kind of where a lot of my answers were coming from. How would I be treated? How would I want to be treated in this situation? I also talk to my administrator on a regular basis about different situations, and essentially he boils it down to a few things. And one of them is that if you have low expectations of a teacher and they don't feel valued, they're not going to overperform. If you have high expectations of a teacher and you make them feel valued, they will work so hard to live up to and exceed your expectations. And this will obviously have a positive impact on student success and on emotional well-being of the school and of students in general. Also, with teacher and staff culture and climate in mind, I was thinking about how I could best support her. So that's kind of where I came up with the plan, and supporting her from the relationship building aspect all the way down to this website issue. I believe that if he would have supported her from the get-go, the issue wouldn't have happened with the website. If he would have started in with beginning teacher supports, checking in, mentoring, the listening behaviors in the form of modeling, I think we could have avoided this issue. I wonder if she does have a mentor in place as far as what's still unresolved for me, and what their school mentor policy is. I wanted to know their district AUP, and if the student created it, did they use district technology? Did they have a positive relationship, or was Dr. Forbes just kind of ignoring a festering issue? And finally, I wonder if he would have been more proactive in this situation, if he would have supported the teaching and the learning that she was trying to do from the get-go, if this situation could have been avoided. Reflecting on Standard 2, basically, to promote the academic success of every student, I began with addressing the immediate issue. I wanted to make sure that I was serving her with a sense of integrity and ethics. I want to make sure that I do that thorough observation from the beginning. I want to make sure that I do an honest investigation and kind of spell it out for her. These are the procedures we need to follow. As far as treating people fairly, equitably, and with dignity and respect, I would have taken her concerns more seriously from the beginning. I would have adhered to ethical principles as far as our building, what we had outlined for our building, and then I would have worked out a plan with her to help her get better. In terms of demonstrating a personal and professional code of ethics that inspired others, I would say I would have supported her 100% in all parent interactions and in all of this. I would have researched the situation. I would have put her on any type of plan or improvement that she needed to be on, so that she understood, like, I will relate to you personally, but this is what we need to do professionally.